No. The answer is no. I've been watching a lot of plastic surgery videos, as in I watched this one OF creator on YouTube who talked about all the surgeries that she had, all the complications, all of the consequences, stuff she likes, stuff she doesn't like, the costs, stuff like that. It's the person who made the video. I tried every single Chinese brand cigarette, so you don't have to. I think that person. And then I'm also watching a video that's talking about the plastic surgery complications and also the situation in South Korea, obviously. I found out a crazy statistic. 50% of college women have undergone plastic surgery. That means for every two people, there's one person who has done cosmetic surgery. That's fucking crazy. And I think for the longest time, okay, I'm 18 for the reference, I think plastic surgery has always been like I've always known about it because of how chronically online I've been since like the age of 12. I've always been on YouTube. I've always looked at like celebrities and they've always just they've just always existed in my head. And I think Botox or lip filler, these words, I've known these words since I was in elementary school, funnily enough. And I think while I never really considered any large scale plastic surgery, like what's a large scale plastic surgery? Like shaving my jaw or like a BBL. I never considered those. Um but I felt that although if you asked me then, oh, would you get Botox? Would you get lip filler? I think my answer would be no. But back then, it wasn't like a concrete yes either. It was just like it felt like a possibility. I wouldn't say an inevitable possibility. Oh yeah, if you can tell, I'm sick, so sorry. But um like it's very easy to pick out things you don't like in your face, especially when you look at the mirror every day. It's very easy to pick out things you don't like. And I think my mom also considered doing a double eyelid surgery in Taiwan. I think she actually made like a consultation appointment, FaceTimed a like a surgeon as well, but because of the COVID pandemic, she couldn't do it. Um, I think because my mom said that she was gonna do it, and after she does it, she says she's gonna tell me whether to do it or not. Um, and like now at 18, so the COVID pandemic, holy shit, that was like 5 to 6 years ago. But anyway, 5 to 6 years ago, I was like 13. I was 12. But like now, I'm watching videos and seeing like people like YouTubers talk about how parents would recommend their children get plastic surgery at the age of 13, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I see people talking about how K-pop industries or like entertainment off what is it called? Entertainment companies making their trainees go through cosmetic surgery at also the age of 13. And I'm like, what the fuck? 13 is literally a kid. And then now, right, retrospectively, I'm realizing, wait, I was also a kid and my mom was also considering that. I mean, beyond the idea or the fact that obviously women, especially, actually, I won't say that. I was gonna say especially in Asian society, but I take that back. Women globally have are just pushed to look good, to always look good, as if we won't have a bad day, as if we're literally dolls where you can shape to your liking. That's not how we work, right? We're just human beings, male and female and whatever gender. We're just human beings. We're not gonna look perfect all the time. Our skin is elastic. We're not built to look perfect all the time. Our body's functional. Okay, back to cosmetic surgery. It was a very it's a very difficult thing to explain, but it's more so I never really felt like I was super inclined to do it. Like I never thought that, oh my god, I'm definitely gonna do cosmetic surgery when I grow up, or when I have the money to, or when I'm legally allowed to. At the same time, I've also never been really appalled by it. I've never been like, I'm never gonna do it, or like, I'm never gonna let anyone touch my face. That's never been a thing either for me personally. But lately, because of the content I've watched, I think everything's being debunked in my head, and now I'm feeling inclined towards, oh, I'm never gonna fucking do anything to my face. Because, recently I watched a video talking about how, at some point there was a craze about fillers, I think. I forgot. Something they inject into your face. Similar to Botox. Maybe it's Botox. I'm not sure. I think it's filler. I think it's filler. But again, what the fuck is filler? What, like, I think it's something hydra something. I forgot. I'm not a chemistry student. And then there was a craze about it, and people are getting them regularly and so much that you become blind to it, right? Sometimes I feel like as normal people, or like as the average person, maybe not in South Korea, since the South Korea average person has done cosmetic surgery, but like the average person, you'll see, like, sometimes you'll pass by someone and you'll see that their nose is like literally pointing upwards, their jaw is like shaped like Joker from the comics. And I think, wow, you're just so blind to your own face. And at some point, that was kind of like everywhere, right? It's the Instagram face, or like you can kind of tell that everyone has had filler. And then after that craze wore off, then there was another craze, which was, come get my filler dissolved with me, or something like that, right? And then they realized that the people who have had their fillers taken out, they're like, shit, why do I look so much older? Why do I look like I'm 30 years older even though I'm just 20? And then, they would report to their doctors or their dermatologist, and they'll basically tell the people, you're just not used to it, You've always been used to fillers in your face, and now it's not there, you're not used to it. But no, it's not. It's because their skin is sagging. And this kind of like, this was what kickstarted the whole rabbit hole for me. It was me realizing that I'm so susceptible to marketing all my fucking days. Like, I think a YouTuber said this, but it was about how fillers were basically marketed as something that's reversible. But like, fillers are relatively new, so you're the guinea pig, like a stage of testing for something. There's individual, developing, and then testing, and then maybe testing on animals. Don't know, that probably is gonna happen. And then it's slowly testing on people. Then is released and marketed, or like basically with a certain label. And then you're the guinea pig. The masses become the guinea pigs. And like, I'm just so thankful that where I live, I cannot get fillers, or more so, it's just not common here to get fillers at the age of like 16 or 18. Cosmetic surgery isn't really that big of a thing here anyway, I believe. But then, I started looking into it then. So it turns out, because when the fillers were marketed as natural, right? So it's basically the same thing, or it's not the same thing, but the filler is the same substance as something in your face, such that when you dissolve them with acid, with a specific something, maybe hydraulic, I forgot, some acid, you don't just only dissolve the filler, but you also dissolve something in your face, such that you cannot really control where it is, right? So then your face begins to sag, genuinely begins to sag, and you look really old compared to your actual age. And then, okay, the fucking Big Brother YouTube algorithm figured that I was watching more plastic surgery content, so they pushed more things to me. And then, the YouTuber I was talking about, the OF content creator who made the Chinese cigarettes video thing, she did a video going through all the plastic surgeries she had, which was mainly in China and Korea. And she talked about how some of them went kind of bad, as in, they did it too much or too little, and because, your facial harmony is so delicate that something too little or too high or too wide or too narrow makes your face look completely off. And she talked about that. She talked about how her double eyelid surgery was a little too high. She talked about how her, eye widening surgery was too much. She talked about how she shaved her jaw such that, usually like natural jaws have this like angle here, and she doesn't have that. And then she talked about how she lengthened her chin such that when it was lengthened too much, that she kind of looks like she had a witch's chin, which I actually have naturally, but whatever. And then she actually shared, I genuinely appreciate her transparency so much, because if it was not for her, I would not know about all these things. Is that, like, she talked about how, when you do a facelift, or when you do liposuction or whatever, right, you're speeding up the apparent rate at which you age, as like in layman terms, is like doing plastic surgeries is not a one-time thing. It is like what other people have said. It is a subscription. You have to keep on doing it because they have sort of like a shelf life, right? You know, when you do an eye lift, it lasts what, like a few years, and when you do a facelift, it lasts like 10 years, and then like your breast implants, they kind of, the rate of fracture increases by so much by like I think 20 years or something. And like none of the content I've watched previously told me that, such that I was basically essentially like every other woman, I was sold a lie in which I thought that plastic surgery genuinely was a shortcut to looking better. And I thought, I mean, it's not too hard to comprehend, right? Technology is doing crazy things. Technology is amazing. Humankind have invented so many new things that can do so many things. So it wasn't too far-fetched to think that, yeah, there genuinely is a concrete, like, shortcut to looking better, to basically saying, I don't want to look how I look right now, and just adding new features to your fucking avatar. And then you kind of realize, it's not, no, And, I think another thing was, I think I wanted to do, not wanted to do, that's a strong word. I think the plastic surgeries that I considered the most, or perhaps thought about the most, was is it called rhinoplasty? Like, to fix my nose, because I've got like a little bump here that's natural. It wasn't from breaking my nose or anything. It's just natural. And I also wanted to do double eyelid surgery because my eyelids are genuinely hidden, because apparently the muscle on my, like, on top of my eyelid is too long that the crease on top of my double eyelid covers my first crease. And I also wanted to do, what the fuck did I want to do? A buccal fat removal, because I thought that my face was too fat. So then I wanted to hollow it out. But then, I was talking to my mom about it. And by the way, she'd never gone through with the eyelid surgery. She's still all natural. And I talked to her about that because she's kind of knowledgeable about this type of stuff. And she, told me, which I didn't consider at all, which is so fucking stupid of me, but it's the fact that, when you take it out, you can't put it back in. That means when you're older, like when you're, I don't know, 50, 40, 50, 60, when you're actually getting older, the fat will, like, the collagen will genuinely disappear on its own, and then you will literally have no support in your face. You look bouncy right now, maybe your face is a bit fat when you're in your youth, but as you age, that fat is gonna disappear. And when you remove the fat now, it's just gonna be even worse in the future. And I didn't even consider that. And I think it's genuinely so dangerous that the entire industry for plastic surgery is essentially built off of lying by omission. Like, they don't tell you this stuff. It's probably hidden in fine print, but the average consumer perhaps doesn't know this. At least for me, I know I didn't. And I do consider myself to at least have access to a lot of information because I have devices. I am not, digitally illiterate, but there are people who are, older people who are not as familiar with maybe technology. They certainly will probably, they're probably less likely to know about this information than I am. I hang out on YouTube so much that at some point I randomly stumbled across this video, and then I clicked on it, and then I learned these things. What if I haven't learned these things, And then I was also thinking about Ozempic, since we're kind of on that same trajectory anyway. And it's that I thought, okay, you know what? If I can, maybe I will do Ozempic. To be completely fair with you, I'm not even that fat. I work out, okay? Used to, because I'm doing my exams right now. But, like, I'm not fat. Like, rationally speaking and technically speaking, I know I'm not fat. But then I still have the desire to get thinner. And then I thought, maybe I'll do Ozempic, Again, it's a shortcut. But then, again, as I slowly consume more content like this, YouTube is pushing me more of this type of content, and I'm realizing that, holy fuck, the side effects of Ozempic is so bad, or so unknown, because I think Dr. Mike said this. It was because Ozempic was a drug invented for people with diabetes, so when it was put through clinical testing, it was tested on people like this. It was tested on people who were overweight with diabetes, and they're not tested on normal weight people who don't have diabetes. So then you don't know what the effect of that drug is on, like what the effect of that drug is going to manifest as in you, and not the type of person that was involved in clinical testing. I think my friend told me about how Ozempic basically reduces your bone density by a lot, especially when you're older, where your bone density is already decreasing naturally, such that it's so easy to break a bone, to have a fracture, to have a I don't know, just break your fucking bones. And it's gonna limit your mobility. And I think, bro, I might as well be slightly not as thin in my youth, be happy about the fact that my body can function, over the slight annoyance and dissatisfaction for the fact that I don't fit in with with the strictest beauty standards around the world, specifically built for women. That was a long rant. I think all the things I say in this video it's all valid. It's just that I think everyone knows that beauty standards for women, obviously built by the patriarchy, it's obviously there to oppress us. It's literally a social construct, but we just cannot. It's so difficult to internalize it. When you grow up looking at the media that you do, then you kind of internalize what you think is beautiful. When I look at a thin model, I just think that she looks better than an oversized model. But rationally speaking, I know that's not true. It's just whether you can internalize this information. And I do believe that people don't talk about this enough because of how taboo it is. Because you have to approach the topic of, you have to accept the fact that, okay, I do think that thin people look better. And then you have to accept the fact that that is wrong. You have to accept the fact that that is a consequence of media consumption, of television, of essentially propaganda. I'm trying to be less critical of everyone, really, for people, for myself. But it's just really hard to internalize that idea, and I think I'm sometimes worried about, am I gonna be thinking about this shit when I'm, like, on my deathbed, when I'm 50 years old? Am I still gonna be thinking about, oh my god, I don't look thin enough, oh my god, my face is so saggy, it's not sharp enough? Am I gonna be thinking about this till the day I die? This is a fucking prison, dude. But yeah. So the answer is no. I will not be getting plastic surgery, nor should anyone be getting cosmetic surgery. Not plastic surgery. Cosmetic surgery for cosmetic purposes. No one should be doing it, okay? Don't get breast implants. Don't get facelifts. Don't get rhinoplasty. Don't shave your jaw. Don't get buccal fat removal, okay? If it's not necessary for your survival, when I say that, I mean, I do recognize the fact that looks matter in our society, since I think 50% of HR people admitted to looking at photos on the resumes and like rejecting you or not hiring you because of that photo, which doesn't fucking make sense, But plastic surgery is a lie. Women, girls, and literally whoever actually, don't get cosmetic surgery. It is such a lie, and the risks are so hidden. It's literally put behind an opaque concrete wall that you need to dig so deep and so specifically to know about the risks, the complications, the consequences, and the fact that all of this is so relatively new that you won't really know about the risk because you are the guinea pig. You are the last stage in its testing. Don't do it. And personally speaking, this is not copium. This is actually true. I do find the fact that I find the most eccentric people around me the most attractive is really comforting to me, because like there are people who you see on Instagram, and they're the Instagram model face. There is the the FYP girl, thirst trap girl guy's face, that face, and then there's the real life people you see, the people who have a little flaws of they have flaws, they have imperfections, and somehow I find those people to be the prettiest or the most beautiful or the most gorgeous or the people who would make me do a double take the most. And I think that is very comforting. And if you don't think that, know that there are people like me out there who exist, who I think, the people who look a little wonky are the most attractive. And also personality, okay? Pretty people or hot people tend to have zero fucking personality, okay? But yeah, don't get cosmetic surgery.